Stocks. I know very little about stocks beside the iconic bull on Wall Street. When people get into the stock market, do they imagine themselves facing off against the Wall Street bull? Does investing have the same intensity as a bullfight, or it's not that literal? Well, what do people think about stocks?
Do you know what a stock is?
Yes.
You invested at all in anything or
No. Do you know anything about stocks?
No, but I am trying to get into it.
Not really.
Buying low, selling high.
Yeah, basic.
I'd like to kind of learn more about it.
Stocks? I don't understand how those work.
No. I don't know a lot, but I do think I know probably more than I give myself credit for.
You know more than I do. This is great.
This is Your World on Money. A stock is an investment that represents a share or partial ownership of a company, meaning that a single share of a stock means having fractional ownership of a company in proportion to the total number of shares. From the company side of things, stocks are a way to give a company capital. So you probably want to know how this affects you and how to make money. I promise we'll get there, but first, cue the history lesson.
The first modern stock trading was created in Amsterdam, when the Dutch East India Company became the first publicly traded company in 1602. The Dutch East India Company was established to take advantage of trade opportunities in the East Indies. But they had a problem. They needed a lot of money, and they didn't have it. In order to raise money for their voyages, they decided to sell stock in the company to anyone in Amsterdam who was willing to invest. In return, investors got a fractional ownership in the company and a distribution of profits if the company itself turned a profit. But what do stocks look like today?
Hello, Callie. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, since you're the expert, on a very basic level, because I know nothing, what are stocks?
A stock is ownership in a company that can be publicly or privately traded. Public companies can be traded on an exchange. I'm talking about the New York Stock Exchange. I'm talking about the NASDAQ or two that most people know. On the other hand, sports teams like NFL teams, for example, are private enterprises, meaning that shareholders own them, but you can't trade them on the stock market.
So on an individual level, would you say that stocks are a great way to generate personal wealth?
So first of all, nothing guarantees wealth. That being said, history over decades has shown that investing in the stock market and holding a diversified portfolio or a portfolio of a bunch of different kinds of stocks can be a compelling way to build wealth.
What is the main reason that the stock market has been such a wealth generator?
You end up making money through something that we call capital appreciation, which is basically where the company becomes more and more valuable over time. If you have $100 and you buy a stock that's $10 a share, then you're hoping if that share moves up to $20 over time and you sell it at $20, then you essentially have $200. It can work both ways too. You could buy 10 shares of a $10 stock and that stock's share price could go to zero as well, and you could lose all your money. So there isn't a certainty, there isn't a guarantee that you're going to make money off of stocks or in the market. And that's the risk you take for that hopeful return.
All right, so can you tell me what the difference is between an individual stock versus a mutual fund?
Single stocks are what most people think of as investing. It's buying a share of Apple. By comparison, ETFs and mutual funds allow you to invest in a basket of companies. An ETF trades on an exchange. It's like Apple, for example. It's just like a stock. You can see its prices during the day, change by the second. A mutual fund, however, doesn't necessarily trade. They are actively managed funds that allow you to invest in a basket of companies. And many investors choose them because it is the easier way to get broad-based exposure to certain markets and certain sectors.
If I wanted to start buying stocks and investing in companies, what should I know before I begin?
The big thing you need to do when you start investing is to sit down and ask yourself, why do I want to invest? Because when you're investing in the stock market, you are taking on some risk. Nobody has a crystal ball. And the concept of diversification and asset allocation really stems from all of that. So diversification is basically the act of putting your money in different assets in different sectors and different stocks because you ultimately can't tell the future. And as much as you like a certain stock or a certain sector, you want to hedge your bets by spreading your money out. And then you need to track it. You need to watch it as markets move and make sure it doesn't stray too far away from your targets. Of course, you can lose that money that you invest, but sometimes the best way to learn is by doing. And I usually tell people to, read about it. Start looking into the stock market, how it works, how investing works. Even if you haven't started investing, that's a great way to become comfortable with it.
How do young people who don't have a lot of extra money to invest get started in buying a stock?
If you come to a brokerage and you have $10 or $20, chances are you can find a way to invest that.
Oh, really? Only $10, $20?
There are no minimums, and a lot of brokerages also don't charge fees for trading.
Wow. Okay.
Even if it is just $15 or $20, staying engaged can lead to a nice portfolio value over time if you give it time and if you're willing to be patient. The real power of investing happens when you invest over time on a regular schedule and you increase the amount of money you invest as you can.
Thank you so much, Callie. This has been a great interview and very informing. I really enjoyed speaking to the stocks expert and learning the value of investing early on. The stock market always felt really intimidating to me personally, and investing was reserved for my more mature friends who enjoyed staring at their computer screens all day. Now I realize that anybody can do it, especially with the help of professionals. While it will always be a risky game to play, investing can ultimately make a huge difference in one's finances, and you can start with any amount.